Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Podcast for Your Life. I'm Jam Robinson.
I'm Jason Kress. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 2, Slow Motion for Your Life. And I feel like we need to follow up the last episode.
Jason found out some pretty interesting and to some possibly heartbreaking news, and he's going to share it with us. If you need to sit down,
Might want to take a seat,
grab a box of Kleenexes or your favorite candy.
So I found out this past week that the Seinfeld theme song was actually not performed on a slap bass. It was performed on a keyboard. Now, this doesn't surprise me considering most things in the 80s and 90s were done on a keyboard. But I guess I've just seen so many videos of people covering it with an actual bass guitar that it never occurred to me that, like, maybe they did a keyboard, maybe, like, they used a keyboard for those sounds. Anyway, so I just needed to clarify that so that, nobody misunderstands my previous comments about that. It's really interesting, though. I was watching some videos on how the guy who made that theme worked on it. He basically, like, would listen to Jerry Seinfeld's, like, stand-up routine that was going to be in that episode, and he would actually play along live with the stand-up routine. So it wasn't like the same song or the same version of the theme song recorded for each episode, like the same one. He like actually did new ones each time to go along with whatever he was talking about. So that's kind of cool.
It's so crazy, and it's like when you showed me that video, I was impressed that it was as interesting to watch as it was. Even though, like, I was like, man, it's gonna be so boring watching a guy press keyboard, press keys on the keyboard instead of like getting really like violently into playing the slap bass.
Yeah.
But it actually was pretty interesting because of how well he knew like the rhythm of Jerry talking and stuff, and like how he just, I don't know, made it flow pretty well. I was pretty impressed.
I was impressed too. So anyway, just needed to start off with that disclaimer before we move on to talking today about slow motion. So Jam, tell us a little about slow-mo today, like in modern times.
Modern times? Well, seems like pretty much everybody has slow-mo now. Not just the elite like it used to be. But everybody's got it on their phone at least. And a lot more people have like a GoPro or something that does slow-mo. If they don't already have it on their phones. So it's pretty like, everybody's got it. It's not so special anymore, which is kind of sad.
I feel like that was one of the big deals when it probably was iPhone. When iPhone came out with slow-mo on your video camera built into your phone, I remember that being a huge deal. Like, Facebook blew up as soon as everybody got their new phones with slow-mo videos. Like people eating cake, in slow-mo.
There's a lot of really cool and really not cool things you can do in slow-mo. Like, one of the first things I would do, because I got that phone. I used to get like every other phone or whatever, every other iPhone, and so I got that phone and I had some connections at an Apple store, so I got it on the day it came out, and which is always kind of fun to do if you don't have to wait in line so long. That's not fun. And I got it, and I remember I was in college at the time, and people would ask, "Oh, you have the new phone or whatever," and they wanted to see how slow-mo works, but instead of showing them a video I already did, I would get them to do something. And people kind of are like, oh, okay, because they don't realize how embarrassing it could be. So the thing I would usually do is I would be shooting them in slow-mo, and I'd tell them to do that sort of like thing with their lips, where they kind of like, you blow air out of your lips and it makes your lips flap everywhere and your cheeks flap everywhere.
Been great.
And everyone looks ridiculous when they do that in slow-mo. It's really fascinating, but also it's like you just kind of build this library of embarrassing videos of how people's sort of skin looks whenever it's billowing back and forth.
Well, let's talk about some good slow-mo videos, like music videos or scenes from movies. Mm-hmm. What would you say would be up there with some of your favorites?
Well, yeah, definitely movies. I feel like I've always done it best. I'm a little biased because I love movies, but they were, of course, the film industry was the first to come up with slow-mo, which makes sense. One of my all-time favorites is that classic scene in The Untouchables where the baby carriage is slowly going down the stairs, and they're having a shootout in this building, and there's a lot of things going on at once, and it's a great scene, especially when you watch the full movie instead of just looking at the scene on YouTube. When you watch the full movie, the scene feels like it takes like 10 minutes to happen because it's all been kind of building up to that confrontation. It's a great scene. So.
It is. It's a classic. And what I want to know is how many takes it took them of the carriage going down without flipping over before it got to the bottom. You know?
I'm sure they do something like that. I think there's a couple shots where it's kind of a closer up shot on the wheels. I wouldn't be surprised if they have someone holding it on one side or the other, pushing it slowly, or like at least have something that is keeping it in place so they could repeat it over and over. Because otherwise you'd have to push it down, go get it, bring it back up to the top, push it down, and stuff. So I'm sure they used as many tricks like that as they could.
I'm sure they did. For sure, that's a classic scene. I would say The Matrix is my favorite slow-mo scenes. Particularly the scene in the first movie, whatever, where they're raiding the building that has Morpheus.
Yes, right.
Taken captive. I think there are slow-mo scenes throughout the series, but that one I think is the best.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, and that's a good experiment in tons of slow-mo, but if you like The Matrix, then you love all the slow-mo, for sure. You have to.
For sure. I've always wanted to try to cartwheel one-handed like Neo does.
Yeah.
You know, and he just takes out like 3 bad guys.
Yeah, it's pretty unfair.
It
makes
makes
it look too easy.
Yep. Well, let's talk about bad slow-mo videos.
Okay.
Worst ones you've seen out there.
Well, it's kind of interesting, but there's a lot of garbage for sure. Like everybody's got a slow-mo YouTube channel now. I don't know if you know. There's like the slow-mo guys, the slow-mo bros, Dude Perfect slow-mo style or whatever. And it's just because it's so accessible and cheap and affordable or whatever. Everybody's got a slow-mo channel, and they just take requests and shoot it in slow-mo.
Yeah, it's true.
As if that you need that, as if you couldn't go shoot it yourself. So like, there's this one that I've seen, and it's sort of interesting, but it is incredibly disgusting. And so I think I put it in the like huge waste of time category, where a guy does something that makes him throw up, and they shoot him throwing up in slow mo. Yeah, and we've gotten to this point where we're way too bored. Like it's 2017, and our boredom level has gotten to an all-time high. Mm-hmm. Whenever not only do people shoot videos slow mo of people throwing up, but also there's more than however many million views on that video.
It's true.
That's all-time high boredom.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people though, it's okay. Like there's no condemnation from our side.
I mean, I watched it too, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't really talk, but it's terrible. It's a really
Yeah, but it's kind of like why people commenting on video games while they're playing them became so popular. It's inexplainable. I don't know.
Yep.
Is that the word? Inexplainable.
Unexplainable.
Unexplainable. Intouchables.
That's actually a different movie.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So
whoa. I would say some of the worst slow-mo things I've seen are commercials, particularly commercials about some sort of drug, and I don't know why they have to be in slow-mo. To me, those commercials are already long enough, like too long, like 30 seconds. No, they're like a minute long.
Just to clarify, you're talking about like prescription drug commercials, not like
prescription
drugs. Okay, not like a don't do drugs kind of thing.
Oh, for sure, yeah. These prescription drug commercials, they just like seem like they last forever, and I think that's because they're in slow-mo a lot of times, because you get these like two people like walking slowly through this like walking path, or like dancing really slowly, or just like flipping the page of a book really slowly, and you're like, okay, how long is this commercial going to be?
Yeah.
And it probably is only like 30 seconds, but it just feels like it's a lot longer because it's in slow-mo.
Yes.
So stuff like that, I feel like, you could probably go without the slow-mo.
Right, and
or just not make the commercial in general, because it's just interrupting the show. That's a whole other issue.
They use it as like a sort of cheap tool to be able to like be filler visually, so that they can tell you all the like
side effects.
Effects, exactly. And which like is also crazy too, because actually there's a lot of countries where they have similar drugs that we have, but they don't have all those side effects that they have to listen to commercials. Because in the U.S., we like to sue people for anything, and so we have to do that in commercials so that we don't get sued. But in other countries, they're kind of like more cool about it. They don't look at
cool about it.
they don't look at every opportunity as a chance to sue a company for money.
That's probably true.
So yeah, it'd be great to find commercials of the same drug in like a different country or something.
Yeah.
They'd be like a 15-second. Hey, are you feeling this way? We have this drug. Check it out if you want. If not, we don't care.
Yep. Prescription drug infomercials remind me of a recent Kimmy Schmidt episode I saw where
the new season?
Somebody stole Titus's voice, basically. Yeah, the new season. Somebody stole Titus's voice and used it for a infomercial about a bladder control pill.
Well, it's like they spliced
You gotta go, girl. All right. Anyway, that was like the tagline, but yeah, that show could be a whole episode in and of itself. What movie scenes do you think would be better in slow-mo? Let's talk about like famous movie scenes. The Titanic doesn't count because it's already pretty much slow-mo.
Oh my gosh, dude! Don't get me started on Titanic. The whole Titanic should be sped up to be like a minute long so that it's like over with immediately.
And then just cut to the Celine Dion song.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because basically they made like a 3-hour Celine Dion music video. Okay. Anyway. Truth. Anyway. Okay.
Preach.
What should be slow mo? Yep. Do you already have an idea? Because I don't have one.
I think. Yeah, because I feel like there are more famous scenes that are already in slow mo. We just like can't think of it. You know, like if you think of like Inception, like a lot of those scenes are kind of slow mo. Although there was that whole like time issue.
Right.
Yeah, I can't think of it. Let's just skip this whole part in general.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. So the moral of the story is, just because you can, doesn't mean you should.
Yep. That's a great way to put it.
That pretty much wraps up for today. Thank you guys for listening. As always, you can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast apps.
Yep, like the standard Apple one, or I like to use Pocket Casts. We're also on Stitcher. Just go for it.
It's awesome. We're almost everywhere.
To go ahead and put it.
Yeah. And we're also on Facebook, so don't forget to like our page, and you can keep up to date with some of the behind-the-scenes things. And
this episode the topic was suggested by a friend of ours, and so you can always send in topics you'd like us to talk about. We might not, but we probably will definitely consider it. But the weird thing is that we've discovered, as we've been making a list, there's almost an infinite amount of topics out there.
Really.
So that's all for today. I'm Jam.
And I'm Jason, and we'll catch you later.